So guys, welcome back, and today we are looking at layers and the importance of layers in Photoshop. And basically Photoshop is really about layers and selections, I would say. If you understand how layers work, you could do a lot in Photoshop. So again, we are back here with opened image beach.jpg, and in your layers panel or palette you can see it here. Right now, if we unlock our layer, we will see that we could name it over to beach by selecting the name itself, right, not the icon. If we double click on the name, we could change the name here, but if we double click on the icon itself, the FX layer pop-up window would occur, right? And that's not what we want right now. So I'm gonna stay here. So what we're gonna do is demonstrate layers, right? What the effectiveness of layers. And basically layers contain image, text, objects that make up the layered file, right? So if you're not seeing this layers panel here, you could bring it up under window, layers, right? But most of the time it should be up for you. So first off, to duplicate a layer, we could duplicate a layer, meaning make an exact copy of this beach by dragging it down in a new layer icon here, right? So we just click, drag, and carry it to this icon here, and beach copy would show up. So there are two layers here. Now they look the same, but they're actually two layers, right? To delete a layer, you need to select the layer that you have and hit the delete or the trash icon here, delete icon or the trash icon, and it says delete the layer beach copy, and we can say yes. So that is how you duplicate layers. You could also duplicate a layer by using this drop down menu here that is located in the panel itself, and you could just select duplicate layer, and you can rename it beach copy and the destination, which would be beach JPG, right? So that's how we duplicate, the ways to duplicate a layer. Now to add a new layer, which is basically adding a plain picture, a plain sheet of canvas on top of this one, you just hit the create new layer icon here, or go to layer in your menu, new layer, and that would do the same thing. So now you see layer 1 here, and layer 1 is currently empty. There's beach, which is this image, and layer 1, which is empty. Now we could add some content to this layer 1. Let's add a rectangle. So we go to the rectangle tool here, and we could just draw a rectangle like this, right? And now we could see that we have rectangle 1 on top of beach. Now layer order is very important. So the order in which a layer occurs affects your image, affects your output, affects basically what your artwork looks like in the end. So for example, let's open up a new file here. File open, and let's choose this beach, this landscape here, and hit open. And let's duplicate this image into the beach document. So we could go to the drop down menu again, duplicate layer, and we're going to call it landscape. And the destination this time is not landscape mountains, however it would be beach. And we can move across back into this document window, and we'll see that it's here. It come across as background, which is strange, but that's fine. So as you can see here, the layers, you can basically see the sea sand here with the water, and you can see the black rectangle. Now if we change the layer order up and put the rectangle between the background and the beach, let's rename this layer landscape. We rename it landscape, and now we have the landscape layer, the rectangle, which is, you can see the outline of it here, which is behind this landscape layer, and then the beach at the back. So now we could start seeing how these are called layers, because they actually layer on top each other, right? And that is how we could start blending them. So blending options are this drop down menu here in your layers panel, and these filters basically change the opacity as well as the brightness and contrast of some, and basically give you different effects, right? This is how you get that soft overlay look by clicking overlay, and we overlay them on each other. So let's make this rectangle invisible. So to make it invisible, not delete it, but make it invisible for the time being, we just hit this little icon here that looks like an eye, and now you can see here that the landscape is over the beach, right? And you can see that it says overlay here, and on beach it says normal, right? So we're going to switch it back to normal, and by switching it back to normal, it covers up the layer, right? So this is basically layer ordering, how we order layers. They stack on top of each other, and it's very important to understand how to add layers, delete layers. So we could just delete this rectangle for now, and let's hide this landscape one, and we're back at the beach. So now we can add a text layer. So add a new layer by clicking the add new layer shortcut here, or go to layer, new layer, right? You can see the shortcut is shift, control and N. So here we could go to add some text, right? So text is another key element that we could add to layer. Let's use Gill Sands, and we're going to type here beach, and it comes out green. So I'm just going to change the font size here in the options palette, and change from bold to bold italic to bold, and Gill Sans. And here we can change the color of the text. So let's change it to white. Yeah. And although it locks out at 72, we can actually add numbers here. So 172 we could put in, but it's still not large enough. So what we could do is scrub, and when we scrub our fonts, you will see that on the font size icon, if we mouse over it, you'll see this double arrow appear together with a hand, and we can go to the left to decrease the size, and to the right to increase the size. So we could just increase the size like this, and there we have our text added on. And this is our layers, how layers work in Photoshop. This is a very basic demonstration of how we have layers operating in Photoshop, right? So if we were to check back this, we'll see that the landscape comes on, but the beach layer is still on top of it, right? And now if we were to change the overlay, we could see that we could change the opacity just to bring it down a little bit, and we could bring in the skies. For some strange reason, why would we want to do that? I have no idea. But clearly this doesn't fit with the composition, so we'll just keep it out for now, right? So, and this layer one also is empty, so we'll also take that out. So now we have a 2-layer file here that is basically text on an image, and that is a basic understanding of how layers work.